Hello and welcome back to another episode of Math with Sohn. Today, we got a little bit of a doozy. We have polynomial division, but with long division. So polynomial long division is when you have something that you're dividing that needs to be divided by something a little bit more elaborate, like h squared minus 2h plus 2. That is dividing by something a little more crazy. So you go through the process of polynomial long division by looking at this first digit, the 1h squared part, that term, and you have to ask yourself, what do I have to multiply 1h squared by to equal 3h to the third? And you would multiply 1h squared by 3h to create 3h to the third, because 1h squared times 3h makes 3h to the third. Then you take the 3h and you distribute it to all three of these. So 3h times h squared makes 3h to the third, and you write it underneath. And 3h times negative 2h makes negative 6h, and you write it negative 6h squared, and you write it underneath. 3h times 2 makes positive 6h. After you have distributed the 3h to all three terms, then you have to distribute a negative and add straight down. So we are going to change the sign, change the sign, change the sign, add straight down, or subtract each one of these individually. I like distributing the negative and then adding straight down. The first term will always cancel. 3h squared, negative 3h squared, goes away. Negative 4h squared, positive 6h squared would turn into positive 2h squared. And 2h and negative 6h makes negative 4h. And we bring down that next 4, and I brought it down all squiggly like for fun. So we bring down that last number, the very next number, and we have to start the process all over again. H squared, 1h squared would multiply by what to make 2h squared? Well, 1h times h squared times 2 would make 2h squared. And then we take that 2 and we distribute across all three of these. So 2 times all three of these would make 2 times h squared is 2h squared. 2 times negative 2 makes negative 4h. And 2 times 2 makes 4. And then we subtract all three of these, distribute the negative across, so we change the sign, change the sign, change the sign, add straight down. So the 2 and the negative 2 would cancel. 4 and positive 4 would cancel. It looks like this one may have no remainder. 4 and negative 4 cancel. All of the terms cancel, which means the 0 is the remainder. And that's just nice, having a remainder of 0. And the final answer would be this part right here on top. If we did have a remainder, we would have to add that in, which will probably happen on the next one. Okay? So let's say we had something like this. Let's say we had x to the third. Let's do 4x to the third plus 6x minus 10. Okay? And let's say I wanted to divide that by a 2x plus 1. So if I wanted to divide by 2x plus 1, this is still something that you could not use synthetic division for because the 2 in front of the x. So we're going to have to use polynomial division here. And this one, believe it or not, might be a little longer because we're dividing by a smaller thing. And if you divide by a smaller thing, it tends to be a little bit bigger. All right? So we have 4x to the third. We would have to put that here, 4x to the third. We are missing an x squared. If you're missing a term with what you're dividing, or even with what you're dividing by, you need to put in a 0. So plus 0x squared, then plus the 6x, then minus the 10. So we have that, and we start the whole process. So 2x times what makes 4x to the third? Well, 2x times 2x squared makes 4x to the third. And we take that number and we distribute it with both of these. So 2 times 2 makes 4x to the third. 2 times 1 makes 2x squared, which is why we needed that 0 term. Then we distribute the negative, change the sign, add straight down. So both of those are negative. I got it in red too. So 4 and negative 4 cancel. 0 and negative 2, when you add those, makes negative 2x squared. Bring down the next number, which is positive 6, the next term, and start all over again. So we have 2x times what makes negative 2x squared, which would be negative 1x, because 2 times negative 1 makes negative 2, and x times x makes x squared. And you take that negative 1 and you distribute it with both of these. So if you distribute negative 1 and 2, you get negative 2x squared. Negative 1 times positive 1 makes negative 1x. And then we distribute a negative. Change the sign, add straight down. Gone. 2x and negative 2x cancel. 6 and 1 makes 7x. And we bring down the next term, which is negative 10. Now here, you're going to be a little upset. You know why? Because 2 doesn't really divide the 7, but I still have to know what 7 divided by 2 is. So 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. So this next one will actually be 3.5, which is very funky indeed. So 3.5 times 2x makes 7x. 3.5 times 1 makes 3.5. Distribute the negative, change the sign, add straight down. First term goes away like normal. Negative 10 and 3.5 makes negative 6.5. And there's nothing left to bring down. Not only that, but you can't divide a regular number by a 2x. So this is going to be our remainder, and you do not keep your remainder there. You keep your remainder up here with the rest of the answer, and divide it with, you do a plus negative 6.5, divide it by the original 2x plus 1. Okay? So that's 2 examples for you. Again, be sure to always check for if you have a missing term in what you're dividing by to fill in that missing term 0x or 0x squared. If you were dividing, let's say I was dividing by x squared plus 5, I would even need to put in a 0x for what I was dividing by. So if you're dividing by something and missing a term or dividing something and missing a term, you need to put in a 0 for either one. Also, I think this goes without saying, be neat and go slow. Otherwise, you will make mistakes. And be sure to have plenty of room. Till next time, I'm getting interrupted by an intercom. I'll see y'all later. Be positive.